Hello friends, this is Lawrence Fleming, and I'm going to start off with these beautiful fluffy clouds. I'm just anticipating that we're going to be looking at those very closely. The wind is blowing, you can hear it behind me. More fluffy clouds. I wonder just what it's going to look like when we see Jesus come through those. Okay, I'll get back to me, but this was my intro. I thought it was a beautiful sight. Hello everyone. I did a quick intro outside just so you can see what it looks like, and then I'm in my tent. I'm going to read in here because the wind is blowing so much I can't keep the pages in front of my eyes. You may or may not be able to hear it. It's calmed down for a little bit now, but it's the tail end of this storm when the dragon sweeps his demons, his angels to earth. It's going to be like this. It's going to be a little stormy. It's going to keep going, and we need to be ready. So my reading today is going to be the parable of the wise and foolish virgins. Jesus speaking in Matthew 25, verse 1. "And the kingdom of heaven shall be likened to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. Now 5 of them were wise and 5 of them were foolish. Those who were foolish took their lamps and took no oil for them." Not having the Spirit is always a bad choice. "But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. But while the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept." Okay. Christ appears to be delayed over the past couple of thousand years. That time's almost up, but he is late because they were looking for him then and when Christ was here. And here we have another evening reference. "And at midnight a cry was heard, 'Behold, the bridegroom is coming, go out and meet him.'" That was a custom back then. If you look at that movie that I always talk about, Before the Wrath, it's pretty good about drawing a parallel of a Galilean wedding. So he's coming at night. Are we going to be ready? I'm going to try to stay awake over the middle of the month, but I don't know if he's coming then or if something big is happening. It could be the same thing, one and the same. Something big is happening that also could be the coincidence of why we have the rapture. Why have a rapture now when we've never had one before? Because something big is coming. Now this war stuff with Russia and Ukraine, that's no big deal. It talks about it, wars and rumors of wars, but that's not the end. That's not what's going to be big. Something else is going to be big. Let me finish this parable and then I'll tell you a couple of the choices that I thought about. Okay, at midnight a cry was heard, "Behold, the bridegroom is coming, go out to meet him." Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. We've never had to really do that, most of us, but I have had a kerosene lamp. You got to get it just right, otherwise it smokes or it won't stay lit. Okay, "and the foolish said to the wise, 'Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out.' But the wise answered, saying, 'No, lest there should not be enough for us and you. But go rather to those that sell and buy for yourselves.' While they went to buy, the bridegroom came, And those who were ready went in with him to the wedding, and the door was shut. Do you want the door shut? I don't. Afterwards the other virgins came also, saying, Lord, Lord, open it for us. But he answered and said, Assuredly I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man is coming. Now, of course, this is a second coming reference. We don't really have a get ready for a rapture. The rapture is not going to take us to a wedding feast. It's going to save us. It's not taking us to the wedding feast. We're not going to a wedding feast until everybody can go. So we still have more that can be brought into the kingdom even after the tribulation. Now, what could happen that would be catastrophic? Well, I've mentioned this before. A nuclear bomb could be. And then it led me to think, we're told to be prepping and be ready. What happens? Want to add to the confusion? Take away your cell phone. A nuclear blast could knock out a lot. This storm, this relatively small storm that went through last night, I got about a tablespoon of water in my tent. It's pretty solid, but when the wind's blowing, it's not 100% solid. By definition, it's made out of material. It's a tent. But the thing is that it still took down. There's branches all over the place down. On the trail, I had to step over a few. Even spotted another small snake trying to get out of the carnage of whatever was left of his tree branch he was hanging from. It's going to take out our phones, internet, everything. It's all going to go. We saw what happened to Starlink when a solar flare knocked out 40 of their satellites. EMP is going to knock out a lot. Most of the, quote, commercial satellites are not radiation hardened. That's only something that we've developed in the last 15 years or 20 years. My military satellite, Milstar, that I worked on, it is radiation proof, up to a point. You can upset it, but it will restore communication within a fraction of a second. The only way to take out my satellite, and they have the capability, is a direct impact with a missile. I'm sure they're all targeted. Knock down communication, and we're back to the Stone Ages. It would be easy for a one world government to take over. When they started their 2030 plan, they thought that's how long it was going to take. And really, that's only 8 years away, from us now. But they just signed another agreement to start implementing it sooner. This year, this is the drop dead for our country. It's either going to push ahead with one world government and continue doing what they're doing, or we're going to bring it to a complete halt. If we replace our government back the way it was before the current administration, everything's going to get reversed. I guarantee you they would do anything to keep that from happening. I mean anything. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if our own government would drop its own nuke on us. These guys are fanatical about this. They're as fanatical about the one world government as Iran is about one world religion. Don't worry, there will be a fight between those two eventually. And our harlot's going to go down. They're going to go down. Eventually, we win. But there's a lot of carnage in the middle, and that's why the rapture. I keep getting people saying there's no rapture at all, ever. Some say it's not till the end. Well, there is one at the end. But you miss the other one's in the middle. That's okay. You'll find out soon enough. And if you're right, I'll find out soon enough. Because it isn't that much time until the very end, until the second coming. Now, my message today that I got loud and clear from God was, don't be distracted. Don't look at all these things happening around you and be distracted. Stay the course. We still have work to do. So we don't even have to watch where we're going. Okay, we're driving a car, and Jesus said, don't even look at the road. Just keep driving, and when you get ready to run off the cliff, I'll rapture you out of the car. That's essentially what he's saying. Don't worry about where you're going. Obviously, we have to take normal precautions, but don't get distracted. Satan's biggest threat to us is to stop us from doing God's work. I am going to try to go outside just to kind of let you see. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me. This is a little bit here coming up again. It's even louder outside my tent. But I'm going to go ahead and stop it right here, and I'm going to pick it back up outside, and we'll see if I can talk. If not, I may just say goodbye then, and I might tack on a couple of other videos that I shot throughout the day. Our power is back on now. This morning I tried to stay online, and thank you for the birthday wishes. I kept losing connections. I even drove into town trying to see if I can improve on it. And it worked for a little while, and I thought it was over. And I saw road crews repairing all kinds of down power lines all the way in. Let me see if I can get outside. All right, let's see if I can keep enough light on my face so you can see me and not get in direct sunlight. It'll wash me out real quick. I got the river behind me. I thought about going out in a boat, but I figured my camera can't swim, so I'm going to be safe for that. All right. I am getting all kinds of information about something major happening in the next week or two. I don't know what. Rapture? I'm not going to give you any rapture date, but just know that if something super big happens, the rapture is probably tied to it. It's the only reason to get us out of here. If it's no worse than it is right now, if it's just another war, that's no different than times past. The only reason to have a rapture is to save us from something catastrophic. And the only thing I can think of, there's only two things I think might be catastrophic enough to cause a rapture. A nuclear war or an asteroid. Something big enough to wipe out a lot of people. Now we know of one coming. Is that in the beginning or is it further on? I think it's further on. I think the one thing that we're capable of doing right now is to have a nuclear war of some sort. It doesn't have to be everywhere, but it has to be in enough places to get us out of here. And if it does, you're going to lose communication. How many people still have landlines? I don't. I haven't had one for years because these are so convenient. They're convenient. We get locked into them and then they are taken away. How many things do we have that are real convenient that we can get locked into? All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up so I can get this out in the evening mail, if you will. I have to drive to the Wi-Fi spot. It came back on. I just checked it. I've got another few days here, so I'm going to try to do some hiking tomorrow. That was what I wanted to do today, but the rain had other things in mind. If I had a fishing pole, which I do, I could sit here, but I really need to get closer. The bank I'm on, I'm looking down. If you see, I'm still about 5 feet up. If I were to catch something, I'd have to lift it 5 feet up in the air, and hopefully it wouldn't jump off the hook. I prefer to, for the most part, catch and release. But if it's a good eating fish, I'll have to think about that. The lake fish that I was just at, they're planters, which means they eat Purina fish chow. Their fleshy is kind of mushy because they don't have to work hard. See, when we get too soft, we don't perform well and we don't taste good. Okay. I'm going to go back in and get this edited together and see if I can get it out of here shortly. The clouds are still blowing by fast. That's just the back of the storm, though. I have to go when I get there and see what the next few days look like. And I'll try to schedule a hike in between the storms. There's a bigger storm coming all around us. And when that big one hits, whether it's coming up shortly or within the next month or two, I'm confident there's a rapture tied to it. So stay close to God. Do what you can. And if He tells you to do something, don't say maybe later. There's no later coming. You want to get to the Bema seat with good accomplishments. Now there's plenty out there that are going to beat us. There's always been. The apostles themselves are going to beat everybody. This isn't a game of who's going to beat who. We're all winners because we all get the same prize. The earth tries to copy that. Everybody wins a prize. Well, in this case, everybody doesn't win, but those that do get the same prize. I'm looking forward to it. Till we meet in the clouds. God bless.